So that explains why I've been seeing trailers for this movie for the last year. It's because they knew it was really good and they wanted everybody to know about it. And we were talking about the movie Project Hail Mary, based on the book Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I am not going to spoil the movie for you. However, if you did want the movie spoiled for you, there is a book, like I said, so like that information is out there. However, I do want to talk about certain things, and I will put that behind like a spoiler section, which I will very clearly say we're in Spoilerville now. So while I don't think anything in the spoiler section is going to actually like spoil the movie, because I'm not going to just go through the plot, I'm just going to talk about some things. But if you want to go in completely blind, I would say there will be a point where I say everybody out of the video, and then we're kind of moving forward from there. But everything before that should be good. Also, my cat Mortimer is sleeping on my lap. He loves Project Hail Mary because at one point, Ryan Gosling wears a shirt with a drawing of a cat on it. So he's like, oh, I'm all in. It doesn't take a lot to please him. Okay, so my high level thoughts on this movie are like, every so often you hear a movie described as a 4-quadrant movie. I'm sure a lot of people will use that word to describe this movie. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, oh, Jurassic World Rebirth, a real 4-quadrant movie, you know? But what that means is this movie appeals to the 4 types of people. And obviously it's a gender thing, so, you know, ignore that part for now. So men and women are one axis, and then adults and kids are another axis. Although I think like the demarcation is usually around 25. But like, so when people are talking about a 4-quadrant movie, all they mean is, does it appeal to men, women, boys, and girls? Like all ages, all genders, is this for everybody? And I think they are genuinely pretty rare. I think there's a lot of movies that try to be 4-quadrant movies, but do end up kind of losing one group or the other. You know, I think the Marvel movies frequently can be described as 4-quadrant movies. I would say some of them are. I'd say like Guardians of the Galaxy is one of them, where I genuinely believe I can put that in front of anybody and go like, you will like this no matter who they are. Maybe not even like it, but just you'll be entertained by this. But then other movies like that I really enjoy, like let's say Thunderbolts, I would not say that is a 4-quadrant movie. I would say that movie appeals to some people, but not all. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, Hollywood wants a 4-quadrant movie. They want one so bad because when they hit, they make so much money because everybody can enjoy it. And sometimes that means like a movie being kind of inoffensive, like Jurassic World, for example, like the original one where everybody left the theater, it was okay, you know? Nobody was like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. But a lot of people went to see it and left entertained. But it feels genuinely pretty rare that a movie that is, without a doubt, a 4-quadrant movie, one for everybody, is also really, really, really good and like a completely well executed, and like it has a personality. It's got a very unique vision. It looks great. Like there's so many good things about this movie that if a couple of them were great and then there were a couple things that weren't as good, I would still be like, you'll enjoy it. It's a cool looking movie, or the soundtrack's really fun, or Ryan Gosling's really good in it. He's very fun to watch, whatever it would be. But like all that put together, you're like, oh my God, this is both going to appeal to everyone and also going to be some people's favorite movie, probably their favorite movie they see this year. And that is an incredible feat. Now, the team behind this movie is a very interesting one I tend to like. So the directors are Chris Miller and Phil Lord. They made the Jump Street reboots that I also loved. They wrote and directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the Lego movie. They wrote but not directed, but then did produce also the Spider-Verse movies, and perhaps the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart, I loved the show The After Party. That one's them too. So this pair, they work on things together, and like I can't think of a thing they've made that I've not been like, oh yeah, that's fun. You'll enjoy that. Like they might be the best at that right now, and I would not have thought about them if you asked me like, who's a director who, if they make a movie, it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be well made and you're gonna enjoy it and everybody's gonna enjoy it. I probably wouldn't put them at the top of my list, but they have an incredible hit rate with all of these things that they've made. Also, they made Clone High. That's kind of what they're probably most known for back in the day. And then Drew Goddard wrote this screenplay. Again, very clearly adapted from a very recent work of fiction by Andy Weir. He wrote The Martian, and then he wrote another book that I'm sure is being fast-tracked at the speed of light right now called Artemis, that is another space adventure kind of thing, although they're all very different, it seems like. I've heard people describe these movies, and The Martian is definitely this way, where like the people in it are incredibly competent. And that's what's fun about watching them. It's not like, you're like, oh, that guy can solve all the problems that ruins the movie. It's like, well, that is the smartest guy, so let's see how he solves these problems. So he wrote the book, and this book came out like a couple of years ago, 2021. I imagine this has been a conversation for a while, especially because The Martian was also a huge hit. Then Drew Goddard wrote the screenplay. Now, Drew Goddard has made lots of things that people really like different kind of things too. Some with a little bit more of an edge. Cabin in the Woods, very famously, was written by Drew Goddard. Daredevil, all 3 seasons of the Netflix Daredevil, Drew Goddard. The Cloverfield movie, Drew Goddard. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not all of it, but some, Drew Goddard. So those are the big 4 creative minds behind this thing. And then you've got Ryan Gosling, who is the star of the movie and the main character, and like has so much more screen time than everyone else. So like it really is his movie. Obviously, and we'll get into it maybe in the spoiler section, there are other characters that maybe are interesting, but like this is the Ryan Gosling show. This movie does not work if Ryan Gosling is not both believably very smart, also charming, also kind of a loser. I don't know how we keep casting Ryan Gosling in movies where he's not Ryan Gosling. Like I rewatched The Nice Guys recently, and there's that Fall Guy movie where he's like a stuntman but not an actor, and it's like, he's Ryan Gosling, he should be an actor. He's an actor in our universe. Do people not see him and go, oh my God, you're incredibly handsome? But then this, where he's just like a science teacher who has some interesting ideas about science and gets recruited to do space mission. He's terrific. And I think this is one of those movies where like, I don't think his performance, and this is maybe my one critique of the movie, if you know kind of what you're getting into, if you've seen trailers, especially if you know the book, but not even that, like honestly, just if you've seen enough trailers to get a gist for what this movie is, like I don't think it will surprise you. I went into this movie expecting one thing and I got the best version of that thing, but I didn't feel like shocked the way that I do by some movies where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. That's so amazing. And part of it again is because this movie has been advertised a lot because they knew it would be a huge hit, but also partially like this movie isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. I think that's fine. I think that's great because like, sure, you can reinvent the wheel, but if you're not going to reinvent the wheel, you have to make a really good wheel, and they did. So like Ryan Gosling doing the perfect little performance here. The only other 2 things that are worth talking about here are the music in this movie is interesting. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm sure some people love the music here. I don't think it's quite like James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, oh wow, that is so unusual for a movie like this to be scored with all that dad rock or whatever. This, it's a little bit less surprising again, but it still works. It is fun. So the needle drop's fine. The score, great. One of those really big, really loud, but not like overbearing kind of scores that generally feels like Interstellar, the way that like what you're seeing on screen is incredible because it's just beautiful space visuals, but then it's this really powerful, confident score in the background that's like, yeah, this is cool, isn't this cool? And I thought that was great. Dingo Pemberton, by the way, people probably most know them from the Spider-Verse movies. Also, it seems like they're kind of Miller and Lord's guys now because they also worked on After Party. So there's that. Music is fun. And by the way, I didn't read the books. I don't know if I said that already, but I have not read these books. I've been told I should, and maybe I'll read this third one, this Artemis book, because like from what I've heard, that one might be a trickier movie to film than some of these other ones. And that's an interesting, like, I wonder what that's going to be. But like, maybe if you want to find out about that story, waiting a couple of years for a movie might not work. And this is Miller and Lord we're talking about, who were supposed to have a Spider-Man movie out like 2 years ago that they just recorded the dialogue for. So like, assuming that they make the next one of these, and if you're Amazon or Sony or whoever's in charge of this, you get them to. But like, maybe I will read that now. But like, some expectations were high because everybody that I know read the books like, oh my God, this is gonna be so much fun. And the reviews that I have seen for a while have been very positive, but I didn't have a really clear picture of like everything. Oh, this has to look like this and this has to look like this, because this is how they're describing the thing and this is how this works in the thing. I'm sure other people that are book people will have better opinions on this. I will just say though, like, the movie looks gorgeous. And like, this feels like, and I think a lot of people are going to compare it to Interstellar. And you compare it to a couple movies, right? Sunshine comes up because it's about a mission and whatever. Sunshine, while it is a fun movie, is not going for the like, oh my God, look at this cool, beautiful space thing. Isn't that just awesome to see on an IMAX camera? Like, sometimes they are, but the whole movie takes place in our solar system. And a lot of the drama of Sunshine happens in the space station. It works, but like Interstellar is a movie that is just begging to be watched on an IMAX screen. I think this is as close as I've seen to that in a while. It looks great. So colorful, so bright. I'm talking to a member of the Nano Movies Book Club about this. Such fun editing. Lots of match cuts, lots of like, oh, now we're here. And like, yeah, it's the same thing. And oh, now we're looking over there. Super intentional. I've also heard from people that are huge book people that there aren't too many changes, and the changes they made are like, yeah, that is something you can cut out if you need to, because it's a 2.5 hour long movie. And like, thank God, because I'm not a huge fan of this. Oh, it's a 3-hour movie. We're getting a lot of those. And I think there's some situations where it's like, sure, a 3-hour movie, but other times like this where I'm like, you can cut some stuff out, and then you got a nice 2.5 hour movie, and that's great. There's really nothing else I can say. The movie is funny, It is charming. It is thrilling, but I wouldn't say too thrilling for like a child. I think a child could see this. I don't know exactly what age it would be your cutoff, because I'm sure this is a PG-13 movie, I guess. But like, I don't know, man. I would feel probably okay taking a 10-year-old to this. I think they'd like it. I would feel okay taking a grandmother to this. I think they'd like it too. It's just a really special, really unique kind of thing in that it just totally works. And I am still pretty shocked by how good it was. All right, and then we're gonna talk about spoiler stuff in a second, but first, because of how these videos go and how we pay the bills, I just want to talk about this video sponsor, Nebula, real quick. Because Nebula, it's so great. Nebula, they do videos about space. Real Engineering has done so many cool videos about space that go up on Nebula early. All of our videos go up early, ad-free. You can watch them on your phone. You can download them, which is a really nice feature. They don't have lots of AI and stuff. There's so many great reasons to get Nebula. I am part of a Nebula original show that's coming out later this year. I'll do the full pitch at the end of the video, but if you're interested, go.nebula.tv/thenandocut. You can get a year Nebula for $30. It's like $2.50 a month. It's a great deal. Okay, now it is spoiler time. And I really wanted to talk about this as little as I possibly could. Also, Mortimer is coming back for this because he really wanted to be here for the spoiler part, apparently. But I'm not going to spoil the movie. But again, if you wanted it spoiled, there's a book. You could read all the details of it. Everyone has known this for a very long time. But I will say, when I went to this movie, I went with my girlfriend, who like is pretty plugged into this stuff, but also like we don't watch like network TV, so who knows what advertisements anybody's getting. So like on the way to the movie, I asked her, I was like, hey, what do you know about this movie? She's like, it's a space thing and like Ryan Gosling's in it. I was like, anything else? Do you know anybody else that's in it? And she said, not really. And I'm like, do you know what he's doing in space and what's interesting about it? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh, all right. We gotta keep your ears closed until this movie starts. I don't want a single person. I don't want you to look at a popcorn bucket. I don't want you to look at a poster, because you get the wonderful experience of not knowing that an alien is going to show up, which is so cool. But like all of the marketing we've seen, even I think the first trailer at the very end showed that there was another figure involved. But like after that, when they started putting out trailers, it was just like, hey, here's the surprise alien guy. Now, I don't think knowing about Rocky going into this ruins the movie or anything, because I knew about him. I love the movie. But like I do want to protect the people who don't know yet and get them to see this movie so they can enjoy that surprise. So obviously that's the only other thing I have to talk about. Also, I'll talk about the other actors because I didn't really mention them. Sandra Hüller, good. I like her. I think she's fine. I think she's interesting. I think she very much like a lot of the characters in The Martian served her purpose, and she had emotions and stuff, but like this was the Ryan Gosling show the same way that Martian was the Matt Damon show. There were a lot of people in The Martian too. This movie does not have as many people. There's no Benedict Wong or Sebastian Stan just hanging around in the wings. Like this is just pretty much Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller, the pastry chef from The Bear. I stopped watching The Bear, so I don't know what he's up to now, but like that guy, he's there. Melania Weintraub, Squirrel Girl from Marvel Rivals and that show that we'll never see, although if anybody has it, please send it to me. I would love to see just the first episode. It can be so rough. I just like so curious about what that new Warrior show was gonna be. And then Ken Leung from everyone's favorite movie, say it with me, Old. Like they're also in the movie, but everybody I just mentioned but Sandra Hüller combined probably has like 50 lines. And like Ryan Gosling, obviously he's great, he's perfect at this. The big thought that I had coming out of this movie, and it's not like, you know, the main thought, but one thought I had was like, oh my gosh, that Fall Guys movie just did not work, because it was also just a Ryan Gosling charisma vehicle, and there was just something about the Emily Blunt and his chemistry that just didn't like feel fun. But like a movie where it's this actor playing a character very much like this one from this movie, but instead he's doing crazy stunts, like how is that not such a winner? Anyway, but as many of you probably know, there is another person in this movie, or whatever thing, and that's the Rocky. That's the like animal alien rock guy. I wish they hadn't shown it, because it's a really fun surprise. On the other hand, they gotta sell tickets, and this is gonna be everywhere. Within a week, you will not be able to turn on Twitter without seeing some meme of Rocky. It really makes me appreciate like how impressive it is that the Mandalorian managed to hide baby Grogu up until the first episode. Like, I don't remember knowing about that at all. And like, that must have been so much work keeping that secret, because he's such a big part of the show. Like, that is a way you can do it. And luckily, The Mandalorian still worked and got people interested. But like, I understand why a studio would want to be like, put the cute guy on the poster. We want to sell the movie tickets. We want to sell popcorn buckets that have him on it. We want to sell t-shirts and hats and whatever. And I didn't see any of the popcorn buckets in my theater, but I know they exist. And I will say the one thing for people, I guess, is you could see this thing in a popcorn bucket and go, oh, it's a robot. That must be his little robot friend that he's going to have in this. And then by the time you're like 20 minutes into the movie, you kind of forgot about that. And then that's it. So you could still be surprised by that, but I don't know, it's a tricky spot. And also, I've got to give credit. Rocky is voiced by a puppeteer himself named James Ortiz, and the puppet itself was designed by Neil Scanlon. And apparently, there were 4 or 5 puppeteers at any one time controlling Rocky. The whole thing's very impressive. But like, okay, so all that, that's the pre-movie stuff. In the movie, Rocky, great. A really, really, really interesting little concoction of what I'm assuming is practical puppetry and some CGI blended in with Ryan Gosling's performance in a way that really works. Like, the design is very simple. I've been told they changed it a little bit from the book. I think the 2 things I saw, and I looked at pictures of what people thought Rocky looked like. He's more musical in the book, and he has like vents on his head, which doesn't have here. But besides that, like, it seems like they translated him really well, and it's cool. Because it is a very not human thing. Like, it isn't like Baby Grogu, where it's got big old eyes that are like, so sad, little guy. Like, obviously, Baby Yoda looks great. We saw a trailer for Baby Yoda in front of this movie, it was a good trailer, so I was like pretty excited to see that on a big screen. But they're selling it with the puppetry, with Ryan Gosling's performance, and the little coos and purrs and stuff that Rocky does, which are great. I think even without Rocky, there's a pretty strong case that this movie will be a contender for Best Visual Effects Oscar and Golden Globe and stuff, just because the space stuff is gorgeous. And this is my other thought coming out of this movie, is I would be really worried if I were the people that made the Supergirl movie, and the Supergirl movie doesn't look as good as this. Because as someone who loves the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic, and say what you will about the comic itself, but either way, the art is wonderful. It is a gorgeous book with so much fun color. And they're not going for exactly that here, but they are going for, like, space is colorful and fun and exciting, and like our characters can look at that and go, that's pretty cool. And like, I'm not saying that the Supergirl movie needs to do that, but I guess I am saying if this did come out, I'd be like, well, what are you gonna do? I made Interstellar once, and all the rest of the space movies, they look good, like Guardians of the Galaxy looks good, but this looks about as good as that. But now it's like, no, there's something to compare it to, and it's a gorgeous space movie. So even without Rocky, I think contender for Best VFX. With Rocky, I'm very curious to see, Avengers Doomsday, I'm sure is going to do some big stuff. Odyssey is, I'm sure, going to do some big stuff. There's a Spider-Man movie coming out this year. There's a Dune movie coming out this year. Like, there are a lot of movies that could have really impressive special effects, but just like when it comes to just the skill and like the craft of replicating space and the ship, and the ship is also very interestingly designed so that you're seeing it from a lot of different angles, but it doesn't look boring and never looks stale. It's also kind of evolving over time, which is very cool. Yeah, I would say, I think this movie looks great. I would say go see it on a big screen. I will say my main criticism of the movie, and I'm probably going to see it again, so I'll get a better sense for how I feel about this in the future. Like I said, if you know what you're getting into, if you've seen the trailers, or even if you've seen The Martian, it isn't incredibly surprising. Also, not that much friction. There is friction, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of characters that are like, I don't want to do that, or doing that is going to be hard. But I guess like the 2 main sources of friction you would expect in a movie like this are going to come from Ryan Gosling does not want to go on the trip, and Ryan Gosling does not want to work with the alien. He is scared of the alien, or he has trust issues or something. And I want to be very clear. I think this movie really, really works. So this isn't me saying like, I should have done it like this. But I do think that was what I felt like I was missing coming out of this. Even though those elements did exist, and maybe it's better that Ryan Gosling does trust Rocky pretty quickly, because then you're able to get the movie going. But then also it's like, as they're doing stuff, you're like, yeah, they do like each other, so they're gonna want the other one to do, like, I don't know, their relationship wasn't necessarily like too easy. I think some of it comes from the fact that like Ryan Gosling is just a blank slate in this movie. Like, he just says a line where someone says like, you don't have friends, you don't even have a dog, you're like, you do teaching because you like it, but like, this character, besides not wanting to be an astronaut, doesn't have a ton of flaws. And because of the way the movie's constructed, him not wanting to be an astronaut doesn't really come up as much as you would expect. There's some bits where he doesn't like completely believe in himself, but like, he gets over it pretty quickly. But like, that's my only criticism of the movie. I think so much of what the movie is doing works. The costumes are good. I loved like Ryan Gosling's different kind of space costumes. Those will be fun Halloween costumes in the future. You know, I'm excited to get tired of seeing plush Rockies and Rocky Funko Pops everywhere. And I do think like this movie, I'm not great at like predicting what the box office of everything's going to be, but like having seen this movie, seeing the reaction to it, seeing what other people are reacting to it, like this is definitely going to be the first big hit of the year, but I would not be surprised if this is like $1 billion movie. And if that's the case, that's awesome, because it's a very well made, it, you know, and it's the other thing is like when I'm saying like, oh, it's perfect, it's really well done, that can come off as a little dismissive in the same way like this is a product that the studio has made and they did all the tinkering and they did all the focus grouping and the dials and they made it. But like this is a movie based on a book written by a guy who just writes books like this, and they adapted it as well as you possibly could. So like as much as this is like a product made by a soulless corporation like Amazon and Sony to a lesser extent, but it is also a very faithful adaptation of a narrative with a very singular voice. And like, so it doesn't feel like it's like that kind of compromised Hollywood nonsense, even though to some extent any movie that's this big kind of has to be. Yeah, I don't know, I'm really happy about this movie, and I think if you're still listening, you should probably watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. And if you love movies and shows about guys going on big long trips, you'll probably like a new show that Nebula just announced like today or yesterday called England. It is hosted by Tom Scott, everybody's favorite guy, the smartest guy on the internet. I don't know if people have like that name for him, but you know Tom Scott. He's British, he wears a red shirt. You're looking at a picture of him now, probably. He makes videos about like a special kind of bus or something that goes in volcanoes or whatever. And he is making a new show for Nebula called Europe, and just him going on a road trip through Europe, exploring interesting sites. People are very excited about it. The little teaser for it is currently the most watched video on Nebula. So people love Tom Scott. He's great. And you can find England, not the country, the video series, as well as tons of other videos made by people you love. You can find them early, you can find them ad-free, you can download them on your phone on this video's sponsor, which I've already mentioned in the video. Thank you, Mortimer. Nebula. You guys have heard me talk about Nebula before. It is a subscription streaming service that I helped to create. A bunch of us video essayists, and I don't like call myself a content creator, but like content creators got together and were like, hey, these platforms we have to work with, they're great, but they have some problems. And the big one is we wanted to just make great videos, give them to you guys. We wanted to make a nice, clean, well-organized place where you can go to watch all of our videos. They all go up early, so every Nando V Movies video and Nando Cut video go up early. They're all ad-free. You can download them to your phone, which is a feature I don't hear nearly enough people talking about, but is incredibly useful. Like if you don't want to have to eat up all your data or deal with the Wi-Fi at the gym or something, download some videos, you'll have them with you. The videos on Nebula are all made by real people, and that didn't used to have to be a selling point, but now I think it might be the best selling point. There's also all kinds of cool videos you can only find on Nebula. Like Lindsay Ellis makes videos almost exclusively for Nebula. One of her most recent videos was about Bluey adults, and the one after that was about dash cam footage, so it really covers a pretty wide spectrum of things. Then you've got short films like Patrick Williams' Dinner Plan, or series like Maggie Mae Fish's Amy's Dead End Dream House. And we have a new show called England, where Tom Scott, you know Tom Scott from all of those very cool videos about like a monorail that goes up a hill only one time a year or something. They're going on a road trip, exploring different interesting things about Europe. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And you have what we haven't like fully announced, but will be coming out sometime next year, our show Subliminal. It's our first like dramatic series. I wrote an episode. I think it's pretty good. I've seen parts of it now because it's like coming together and been edited and all that, and like it looks great. I can't wait for you guys to see it. If you want to support us, give us more opportunities to do cool stuff like that, and you want to see our videos early, ad-free, download them and see other creators on Nebula, because all of your favorite creators and your next few favorite creators are on Nebula right now. Like there's something for everybody. And a yearly subscription to Nebula is $60 for a whole year. That is $5 a month. But if you go to go.nebula.tv/thenandocut, or the link in the description, or you use the QR code, you can get a year of Nebula for just $30. That is $2.50 a month. It is an incredible deal. Again, that is go.nebula.tv/thenandocut.